Jeju Island's Manjanggul lava tube shelters, pristine lava formations, and an underground ecosystem that ranks among the planet's rarest volcanic wonders. Do you know that the Manjanggul lava tube stretches over 7 kilometers beneath Jeju and harbors unique, lightless species and pristine geological formations found nowhere else on Earth? Gamcheon Culture Village perches above the port, its pastel houses stacked like an urban terraced garden. What began as a refuge for war-displaced families evolved into an artist's labyrinth, where alleys become open-air galleries. Every mural and mosaic here is layered with memory, a palimpsest of fishermen's songs, immigrant kitchens, and the grit of daily life. Walk from the main promenade and you slide into narrow corridors that surprise you with sculptures made from old boat parts and porcelain. A single rooftop panorama can reveal the harbor below, the cargo cranes like slow-moving sentinels, and the ferry routes threading the water. Local storytellers link Gamcheon's creativity to Jagalchi Market, where the day's catch still determines color palettes and conversations. Vendors from Jagalchi shape the rhythms here, bringing sea-salted flavors into cafes that overlook ships and the open sea. From Gamcheon, you can trace the coastline toward Haeundae's cliffs, where wind-carved rocks mirror the village's layered geometry on a grander scale. That coastal line connects to Haeundae's sandier shores, forming a living ribbon that binds Busan's working harbor to its leisure beaches. Visitors often find that Gamcheon's best secret is human scale, a neighborhood that invites curiosity, conversation, and small surprises at every turn. And as daylight fades, lanterns and painted doors fold into evening, turning ordinary houses into a constellation of stories waiting to be read. In the end, Gamcheon is less a preserved artifact than a living mosaic, stitched from tides, trade, displacement, and creative reinvention. Follow its alleys, and you follow a coastline's history, from mudflats to markets, from fishermen's nets to canvases hung over vistas of the open sea. Each visit nudges you toward nearby alleys, the Museum of Modern Art, and the ferry that will carry you to outlying islands for fresh perspectives. Gamcheon's real gift is the invitation it extends. Move slowly, listen to the city's layered voice, and let the coastline narrate the rest of your journey. Seoraksan National Park holds one of the planet's most concentrated arrays of granite spires, alpine meadows, and millennia-old conifer stands compressed into a landscape of startling verticality. Do you know Seoraksan shelters isolated pockets of Siberian larch and Korean fir that survive nowhere else on the peninsula, relics of an ice age clinging to the ridgelines? Hidden valleys here guard the furtive Korean goral and the soft hoofprints of musk deer, signs of life that move like ghosts through moss and dripping rock. Trails rise from the peaceful courtyards of Inwangsan Temple and spool upward to Ulsanbui, a serrated granite sentinel whose face is scored with ancient frost and pilgrim hands. From Ulsanbui, the ridgeline funnels into Haeundae's river-polished stones and then spills toward Sokcho, so that mountain solitude and coastal life braid together in a single journey. Seoraksan's geology tells a slow story of uplift and relentless freeze-thaw, where water and time have sculpted sharp fins and deep gorges unlike most temperate ranges. When autumn arrives, the slopes erupt in maples and oak, a seasonal incendiary that photographers chase from ridge to valley for the perfect tilt of light. A short ride on the cable car to Gyeongbokgung opens an impossible panorama, linking these peaks to the greater Taebaek backbone that runs like a spine through eastern Korea. Beyond the vistas lie lesser-known pockets, Osaek's mineral springs and secluded waterfalls, each a quiet chapter that continues the park's unfolding narrative. Winters drape branches in rime and carve sculptural ice along cliffs, a stark transformation that attracts climbers, monks, and researchers, cataloging species under snow. Today, conservationists race to protect these refuges from development and warming, linking Seoraksan's future to a network of parks and coastal preserves. Walk here, and each step connects you outward, from mountain shrine to seaside market, hinting at deeper stories that await beyond the ridgelines. Bukchon Hanok village sits on a ridge between Gyeongbokgung and Changdeokgung palaces, preserving hundreds of traditional Korean houses called hanok. Its narrow, winding alleys reveal layered roofs and wooden beams that survived Seoul's rapid modernization. Do you know some hanoks in Bukchon still use ondol underfloor heating systems that date back centuries? Walking through these lanes feels like stepping into a living history book where residents cook, sleep, and celebrate just as their ancestors did. Unlike curated museum exhibits, Bukchon is inhabited, which creates an intimate tension between tourism and daily life. Small craft studios, tea houses, and family-run galleries hide behind carved doors, offering workshops in pottery, knotting, and calligraphy. Seasonal festivals bring drumming and hanbok-clad processions that animate courtyards and community spaces. Visitors are invited to sip tea in hanok tea houses, where ceramic bowls warm your palms and stories flow. Respectful curiosity helps the village thrive, because every preserved home depends on neighbors who still inhabit them. The village's map guides lead past lookout points with sweeping views of Seoul's skyline and the silent bell of Gyeongno. Leaving Bukchon toward Insadong, you carry more than photographs. You carry a sense of continuity that anchors modern Korea to its living past. Along South Korea's southeastern coast, Haeundae Beach benefits from the Tsushima Current, creating pockets of subtropical marine life rarely found at these latitudes. Do you know Haeundae Beach shelters Gyeongbokgung, a granite islet turned park where camellia groves and ancient legends have shaped Busan's relationship with the sea? In summer, the Wide Crescent fills with sunseekers and city festivals, but in winter, the exposed shoreline reveals tidal pools and rock gardens, where unexpected species cling to life. Walk the coastal path, and those same tide-sculpted rocks fold into shaded pine trails that lead to stories of monarchs, poets, and fishermen who once navigated these waters by star and current. Haeundae's skyline of glass hotels and open-air markets rises just beyond the dunes, yet the beach preserves an old pulse of seasonal rituals, midnight markets, and lantern-lit memorials. From sand to skyline, the promenade threads toward Marine City and the elegant sweep of Gwangan Bridge, a modern spine that links Haeundae to Busan's harbor and wider maritime past. Beneath the surface, divers find reefs where temperate and subtropical species meet, a living map of currents and eddies that scientists and local fishers have studied for generations. Locals will tell you about memorial stones half buried in the sand, and boat builders who still measure planks by the moon, customs that connect this public beach to centuries of coastal culture. Even the design of boardwalks and terraces insists on the sea, framing dawn rituals and sunset gatherings, so residents and visitors participate in Taipei-driven time. Follow the shore west and the narrative unfolds, from Haeundae's family-friendly arc to Gwanggali's cafe-lined beach and Jagalchi's fish auctions, each stop a chapter in Busan's living maritime story. Small surprises appear along the sand. Seasonal blooms, driftwood sculptures, fishermen mending nets at dawn, tiny performances that reveal how urban life and the ocean breathe together. When you leave Haeundae, the path continues by ferry or rail into Korea's coastal heart, a braided route of sand, city, and sea that keeps urging you to discover the next shore. Framed by the granite spurs of Mount Bukchon and the sweeping arc of the Han River, Gyeongbokgung sits in a rare urban natural setting where a royal palace meets protected mountain landscape. Do you know Gyeongbokgung once stood at the heart of a feng shui plan so precise it oriented every gate and hall to seasonal sunrises and the subtle flow of groundwater beneath the city? Built in 1395 during the Joseon dynasty, this palace was the political and cultural nucleus of Korea for centuries. Its main throne hall, Gyeongbokgung, was designed not merely as a seat of power, but as a stage for celestial symbolism, where pillars and colors represented Confucian order. Walk past the stone bridges and lotus ponds, and you reach Inwangsan, a tranquil pavilion on an island that was once a private retreat for kings. Across the water, Gyeongbokgung's elevated banquet hall floats on stone columns, engineered so enemies could witness Korea's diplomatic rituals beneath a canopy of ginkgo trees. The palace's wooden eaves and dancheong paintwork encode stories, animals, geomantic motifs, and filial images, each brushstroke preserving royal ideology. Yet Gyeongbokgung's history is as scarred as it is splendid. It was burned during invasions and heavily dismantled under colonial rule, only to be painstakingly reconstructed in recent decades. Today, restoration has unearthed foundation stones, palace maps, and hidden courtyards that reveal details of court life. The laundries, kitchens, and scholars' quarters, tucked behind ceremonial facades. Inwangsan Mountain rises jagged granite spine over central Seoul, its bare cliffs and weathered boulders, strikingly exposed within a major capital, a geological interface that's rare in the world. Do you know Inwangsan hides centuries-old shamanic altars etched into rock faces and pathways where city dwellers have made offerings for generations? From the first steps up its trails, you feel the city peel away, replaced by an intimate maze of cracked stone and wind-sheared pines clinging to shelves of granite. The mountain's rugged silhouette frames views of the Han River and the tiled roofs of Seoul's palaces, collapsing millennia of history into a single panorama. Walk along the Seoul City Wall that snakes across Inwangsan, and you'll trace the same defensive line that guarded this peninsula through Joseon dynasties. At certain rock ledges, you can still find small votive piles and weathered talismans, reminders that this was and remains a place of living ritual. In summer, the pines whisper with cicadas, and in winter, the granite glows cold and silver, each season lending a different mask to the mountain's character. Photographers and painters have long been drawn here, not just for the skyline, but for the intimate interplay of raw stone, human handprints, and the ever-present city beneath. Locals tell stories of spirit houses tucked beneath boulders and of night watches where guardian figures keep the boundary between the sacred and the urban. Hikers can skirt narrow ridgelines where a single misstep will drop you into a chimera of rock faces and, beyond them, Seoul's endless grid. This tension, wild rock confronting concrete, is what gives Inwangsan its filmic, almost mythic presence in Korean literature and contemporary art. Every turn on the trail reveals a new perspective, a temple bell shadowed by a skyscraper, a weather-beaten lantern, or a stone path that seems older than the city itself. Namiseom Island, a crescent-shaped islet in the middle of the Bukchon River, a single avenue of metasequoia trees, forms one of the most perfectly symmetrical tree corridors in the world. Do you know that Namiseom Island was transformed from a flood-prone sandbar into an intentional cultural landscape that now shelters over 40 species of trees and plants, creating microclimates you can walk through? The island's leafy avenues line up like chapters in a living book, each turn revealing different light, texture, and scent as seasons sweep through. In autumn, maple and ginkgo bleed into fire and gold, while winter freezes the branches into sculptural ribs that overlook the blue river. More than scenery, Namiseom is a stage for stories. It became globally famous after serving as a filming location for the hit drama Winter Sonata, turning fictional romance into real pilgrimages. Couples follow the same paths shown on screen, leaving ribbons, notes, and locks, and the island's gentle rhythm folds personal history into public sight. Reaching Namiseom requires a short ferry ride that dissolves the city's edge and replaces it with a deliberate silence punctuated by birdsong and rustling leaves. Visitors arrive by bike, by boat, on guided walks, and many find that the crossing itself feels like stepping between seasons and sensibilities. Small galleries, themed gardens, and riverside cafes nestle among the trees, so every bench and bridge seems placed to coax a pause and a look. The island's careful design blurs where human artifice ends and natural growth begins, making visitors question which moments are managed and which are wild. From Namiseom's southern shore, you can spot the surrounding mountains and the same river corridors that lead toward Gamcheon and the nearby cultural enclave of Petite France. That physical and cultural continuity, from Island Avenue to Theatrical Village to mountain trails, is what makes this region feel like one long story told in different voice. As the sun slips behind the metasequoias, light fractures into golden ribbons that the water then mirrors back, doubling the sense of being inside a painting. And when you leave the island to follow those mirrored paths upstream, you'll find that each successive place unfolds as if the landscape itself is arranging memories for you to collect. Jeju Island cradles Hallasan, a shield volcano whose summit crater hosts plant species found nowhere else on the Korean peninsula. Do you know Jeju's Seoraksan Ilchulbong was born from a single violent sea eruption and still appears as a crown rising from the ocean? Beneath that crown lie Munjanggul lava tube tunnels, some of the longest and most intact on Earth, carved by molten rivers thousands of years ago. From the volcanic heart to the serrated basalt cliffs of Jusangjoli, the island stitches fire to sea in a way few landscapes can match. Jeju's shore is also home to the Haeundae, freediving women whose traditions predate modern fishing and whose harvests connect the island to a vanishing maritime world. Walk inland and you find over 300 Orium, parasitic cones that lace the countryside like a field of small extinct volcanoes, each with its own story. In spring, their slopes bloom with camellias and unique alpine flora, a surprising temperate to subtropical mix that biologists still study for clues about climate change. Then there are the citrus groves, the sweet, bright halabong fruits that carry the island's scent into markets across Korea and tie ancient soil to modern taste. Jeju's story folds human resilience into geological time, from stone statues guarding ports to stone walls winding around fields, each built from volcanic memory. Follow the tide, and the island leads you toward ferry routes and flight paths that have carried traders, pilgrims, and now curious travelers who seek these hidden wonders. Come dawn, the ridge of Seoraksan fills with pilgrims and photographers chasing a light that turns basalt into gold. By dusk, the island's volcanic lakes reflect stars and stories, and if you listen, even the wind seems to speak of eruptions that shaped lives. Jeju keeps changing, quietly waiting. Along the misty southern coast, the Boseong green tea fields form one of the world's largest continuous swaths of cultivated tea, curving over hills like living terraces. Do you know that the Boseong green tea fields, that some local producers skip oxidation entirely, creating teas with almost floral sweetness, prized across Asia? Rows of meticulously pruned bushes create optical rhythms that change with light, turning the hills from jade to emerald at dawn. The soil here is unique, marine sediments mingled with volcanic ash, and that mineral cocktail gives Boseong leaves a distinct savory depth you won't find in flatland plantations. Generations of farmers pass down techniques for plucking the delicate first two leaves and a bud, a ritual timed to morning mist and crab-eating herons' migration. That careful timing means each harvest captures a fleeting balance of sugar, amino acids, and fragrance, and it's why Boseong teas headline tea ceremonies from Seoul to Kyoto. Walk among the rows, and you can hear the discipline. Snips, the soft hush of leaves, distant ferry horns from the coast, and smell green tea, steeping in roadside stalls. Local workshops turn those leaves into everything from powdered matcha-style tea to delicate steamed varieties, while chefs infuse cakes, noodles, and even seafood with that unmistakable green note. A few kilometers away, the Daein Green Tea Museum archives the region's history, connecting ancient Korean tea lore to modern experiments in flavor and sustainability. Visitors who follow the terraces downhill find the coast and Suncheon Bay's tidal flats not far off, a landscape swap from cultivated greens to wild, briny wetlands. That transition, tea hills to tidal marshes, teaches an essential Korean truth. Landscapes are lived, worked, and shared, each ecosystem feeding the next. From Boseong's tea farmers to Suncheon's reed cutters, the seasonal rhythms sync, and festivals celebrate both harvest and harvesters with tea tastings and lantern-lit boat rides. In spring, when the fields glow brightest, small guest houses offer home-style pours and stories. How a wartime soldier learned to prune, how a grandmother's recipe turned leaves into medicinal pastes. Those human threads reveal that Boseong's beauty is not only scenery, but a living tapestry of memory, technique, and taste that travelers can join, sip by careful sip. Beyond the tea, conservation projects here experiment with shade trees and organic methods that reduce runoff into nearby bays, showing how tradition can evolve for environmental resilience. As the sun sets, the terraces soften into silhouettes, and you begin to understand why a simple cup from Boseong carries the flavors of soil, sea, and centuries. Along Korea's jagged eastern coast, Haedong Yonggungsa perches on volcanic cliffs where the sea carves deep blue amphitheaters. Do you know Haedong Yonggungsa, founded in 1376 by the monk Naom, is one of the rare temples in the world, built to face the open ocean and greet the sun. Long before modern skylines, local fishermen and royalty alike came here to offer prayers for safe voyages and abundant catches. The temple's name, Dragon Palace Temple, hints at an old belief that dragons guard the sea and answer the prayers of those who stand on its stone steps. A path of ornate lanterns and carved dragons guides visitors down toward talismanic shrines and a massive seaside Buddha statue that seems to watch the tide. Tidal booms and spray shape the visitor's experience, so prayers, rituals, and festivals follow the rhythm of the ocean rather than the seasons of the fields. Carved stones, bronze icons, and vermilion roofs are layered against basalt outcrops, creating a palette rarely seen in inland temples. Hidden inside small caves and niche shrines are votive tokens, tiny boats and coins left by families seeking the temple's reputed maritime blessings. Each New Year's dawn, thousands climb the cliffs to watch the sun first kiss the sea beyond the temple, believing that such a beginning brings exceptional fortune. The temple was rebuilt and expanded in the 20th century, blending ancient Goryeo origins with later Joseon and modern restorations that reflect evolving devotion. Listen closely, and you can hear the temple bells synchronize with the surf, an acoustic signature that turns prayer into an oceanic chorus. Namsan's central mountain forest shelters a rare temperate urban ecosystem, one of the few intact city center woodlands in the world. know Namsan Seoul Tower sits atop that living island and was designed not just as a landmark, but as a bridge between Seoul's nature and its shimmering skyline. Rising above twisting trails and centuries-old pines, the tower's observation decks compress the city's sprawling history into a single, unforgettable panorama. From these heights, you can track the Han River's silver ribbon, the grid of modern districts, and the tiled roofs of neighborhoods like Bukchon, sliding into the horizon. Built initially as a communications mast, the tower later opened to visitors and became a cultural magnet. The last climb down leads you toward neighborhoods that tell the next chapter, where street food and craft cafes echo the tower's mix of old and new. Look for small plaques along the path. They map constellations and past radio frequencies, tiny reminders of the mountain's double life. Local storytellers say that on misty mornings, the tower seems to float above Seoul, like an island lighthouse guiding commuters and dreamers like you. That mythic image is why many itineraries send visitors from the royal palaces up this slope, then onward to the bustling markets below. Standing at Namsan Seoul Tower is less about reaching the top and more about reading the city's layers. Each window frames a different era. Keep walking from here, and the narrative continues, unfolding into alleys where modern K-style and centuries-old craft meet. Manjangul lava tube on Jeju Island holds one of the planet's longest, most pristine subterranean lava channels. Do you know that Suncheon Bay's tidal flats serve as a migratory superhighway for millions of birds and preserve a coastline ecosystem found in only a handful of places worldwide? From these ancient living landscapes to a shimmering modern spire, Lotte World Tower redefines Seoul's skyline. Soaring 555 meters with 123 floors, it became South Korea's tallest structure and a vertical emblem of a nation straddling history and hypermodernity. Built on the edge of Seoraksan Lake and next to the sprawling Lotte World Complex, the tower connects amusement, commerce, and urban life in one place. The observation platform, Seoul Sky on the 118th floor, offers not only panoramic views, but a dizzying sense of how Korea's islands, rivers, and mountains fold into the city below. Engineers carved this needle from glass and steel to withstand typhoon winds and seismic tremors, layering innovation beneath its elegant silhouette. Inside, sky lobbies, galleries, and high-rise restaurants thread together public life with private luxury, turning vertical transit into an experience of its own. Glass-floored observation points that make the ground seem to fall away, and programmed lighting that deals with the seasons, tracing time across the facade. From early morning mist to late night neon, it reshapes how Seoul frames both its ancient islands and its newest horizons. Walkable promenades around Seokchon Lake lead directly from traditional markets and temple neighborhoods up to the tower's base, making the leap from old Seoul to new feel unexpectedly seamless. By bridging entertainment parks, waterfront ecology, and sky-high vistas, Lotte World Tower becomes a lens through which Korea's layered identity is suddenly legible. Visit at dawn to see migratory birds arc beneath the glass artery of the city, or at night, when the tower becomes a column of stories being told in light. In the shadow of this modern needle, one can read a larger story: how a nation honors rugged islands and ancient wetlands while building upward toward the future. From the black lava fields and hidden lava tubes of Jeju to the emerald terraces of Boseong, Korea stitches together landscapes found nowhere else on Earth. Across the channel, Busan's cliffs and the sea-swept Haedong Yonggungsa temple hand the coastline's story to the bustling harbor markets, where the day's catch becomes an evening feast. Inland, the ancient capital of Gyeongju holds stone pagodas and royal tombs that whisper into the pines of nearby Annong's Haho village, keeping living traditions alive. From there, the road climbs to Seoraksan, where granite spires like Ulsanbawi seem to bridge the human past with the mountain's Gestet, sacred present. The path then leads back to Seoul, where restored streams and palaces sit under the neon and glass of a city that constantly reimagines itself. Trace the culinary map from Seoul's royal court dishes to Jeju's seafood and Busan's street snacks, and you discover how geography writes flavor across the peninsula. Each meal becomes a bridge of regional ingredients, migration, and centuries of trade that binds people to place and past. This journey through stone, sea, temple, and market is more than sightseeing. It's an invitation to notice the hidden connections that make Korea uniquely whole. Stay with us as we pry open the lesser-known doors. The lava tube that shelters ancient fossils, the seaside shrine lit by sunrise, and the quiet fields where old songs still guide the harvest. By the end, you'll see Korea not as a collection of pretty sights, but as a living tapestry stitched by nature, history, and human hands. Join the next chapters to uncover the stories behind each thread, the people, rituals, and secrets waiting just beyond the familiar postcard images.